friend. I met her in kindergarten. First friend ever on my own. And she was kind of like my partner in all of this. She was a different birth sign than me, but it was like when we got together, it was like a battery clicked and weird things would start happening. So, like I said, I've got some ghost stories about the place I grew up, but then there's this huge drama around me and my best friend. And it will probably take some time to explain. So, like I told you, if you want to do some 2 different episodes for that, you're more than welcome. I got stories all over. Unfortunately, my best friend's passed away, and she is now dealing with whatever repercussions there might be for what we did. I'm hoping not, but we got followed by an inhuman entity for a good few years. She and
Wow.
I. And no, it wasn't human because other people have seen it. It destroyed my garage down the shore. It twisted the metal that the sliding garage door goes up.
Twisted the metal.
The metal looked like it got caught in a cyclone. My mother swore to God I did it.
Wow.
I looked at her, I was like, Mom, how can I do that? I
How
was
could you
75
do?
pounds. And I was with you since I left the house the last time. How could I have done that?
That doesn't
I do
sound
have my
possible.
hubby. Nope, I have my hubby
How's it
here. He's
going?
witnessed a few things.
All right. Well, I guess if anything, I would start at her house on Custer Street. It was
Well,
3149 Custer Street. Um, so I didn't believe in any of this stuff. So I'm
he walks in totally novice.
I'm just like I'm walking in thinking it's just a regular house, has some old shit in it, and that's fine. It's got some electrical stuff from a different era. I'm like, all right, cool.
Horsehair insulation.
Yeah, but like my stepdaughter who comes over on every other weekend because of custody agreement, and all them are upstairs sleeping. Magic, and I'm downstairs just just relaxing until you finally get to breathe, and then all of a sudden my daughter walks down the steps and makes no sounds.
There's no sound whatsoever, and this house was built in 1900 something.
1906.
So there should be noise. Every time I go up, it always makes noise.
I make sounds.
There should be some noise.
And then the body stays facing this way down the stairs. Her head rotates completely on its axis, and looks at me and stuff and things. I'm like, what the fuck is your problem?
Basically, it had come down. You could see the legs, and then it bent over.
With her red head so focused on me, her body rotated back up like it was no problem. And I was like, "Oh, that's fucked up." I
watch your language.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. You can curse here.
I went up and immediately and something. So I'm like,
he woke the kids up.
Were you outside? Were you just on steps? Do some weird stuff, and me kind of freaked me out a little bit, And
she's like, telling him no.
I'm like, okay, I know you're tired, which is awesome. That makes it genuine. I want you to walk down the steps, the first 5 steps, and walk back up. Do not make a sound.
Don't make any extra noise. He went back and sat on the sofa. She came down the steps.
She couldn't knock it out. She couldn't.
And there was noise.
No, she couldn't accomplish the task. And I was like, all right, that's weird.
Plus, she can't turn her body around on a pivot with the head standing in one position.
Right.
And then, like about a week later, there's this. I'm walking upstairs stuff and things because it's 2-floor row home, and there's this white little girl standing there in the middle of my hallway, where it goes down to the front room, or hallway goes down down the stairs, or it pivots and it goes to another room.
So she's basically at the 3-point at the top of the steps,
and she just looks at me and stuff and things, and I'm looking at her, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I've got to smoke better stuff.
I'm hallucinating.
I'm like, oh my, this is just nuts. But she's in a white little dress, and she's about my youngest daughter's size. So I thought it was her messing around. And something's getting, and then all of a sudden she goes right through a wall. And I was like, yeah, my daughter doesn't do that. I'm not even going to wake her up because, like, it's just going to say, hey, Dad, I don't see anything, blah, 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 you're crazy. And I'm like, yeah, I know, all right. But it started there. And then, like, she left a Ouija board open.
Yeah.
And then
I forgot to close the portal.
I'm like, hey, did you close that Ouija board? The one we used last week?
Nope.
And I'm like, I just looked at her, I'm like,
you're an idiot.
Why would you do that?
I forgot.
Well, she's like,
I got distracted at the end. I forgot to do it.
It'll be fine, Charles.
No.
I'm like, it won't be. And then more things went wrong after that. It was just like.
Yeah, I definitely opened the door to it in the house there. In my situation, it starts when I was 2 years old on Emerald Street in Philadelphia in Kensington section, which is a really bad area now. It used to be an industrial area, shipping tool and die companies. They made materials and all kinds of stuff, but now it's basically it's gone under. When I was younger, that was different. And my dad, he had the basement for all his stuff and the garage. Well, one day, little old me decides she's going to go down the steps prior to my mother. My mom's in back of me by a few steps. I go waddling down the steps, and she said I began to fall forward. She went to reach, but instead she saw my collar go.
Like someone grabbed
me by the back of my collar. Yeah. And I was able to grab onto the railing because it was just a bar railing. He didn't have that side protector so you don't fall over. But it's better. My mother tells me about this. I make a mental note of it. I'm like, okay, something was protecting me. That's cool.
Like
my sister is born 5 years. Yeah, my sister was born 5 years later. When she was 2 years old, she went to twaddle down the steps too. The same exact thing happened to her.
Wow.
Somebody was watching us at that point. But I won't say it was an angel. I would just think it was a standard spirit because things were still happening negatively or annoyingly. Not so much negatively. That's the whole my best friend and me thing. But it was happening annoyingly around the house. We had a sofa painting, the big kind that extend over to sofas. They were popular in the 50s that light up with different scenarios on it. Yeah, it was about 4 feet tall, about 6 feet long. It had hung on our living room wall since my mother and father bought the house in 1969. It was a gift from my grandfather. So it had a place of honor on the wall. Never moved. We really didn't even light it because we didn't want to mess with it. One day, the sofa is up against that same wall. The picture's above it. Sofa painting. And there is the sofa table in front of the sofa. I'm setting it up in your head for you. My mom, my sister, and I were on the sofa. My mom gets up. She walks across the room, sits in a recliner. No problem. I get up. I go over to see my girlfriend, Kelly Ann, who's in the other end of my room. My sister, again, about 2 years old. She's only walking, about a year now. Came walking from between the sofa and the sofa table area. She came around the sofa table and over to my mother, which was by the stairwell. The painting at that point, I swear to you, send me to hell if I am lying, went up the wall. It came forward like this. I'll use my phone for an example. Up the wall, forward, turned like this, bang, right down on the table.
Jesus.
To where my sister had just stepped away.
It might be that good.
Wild.
So there was that. Kelly Ann, my girlfriend I mentioned earlier, she was the unfortunate sleepover victim one day. Kelly knew, just like I knew, weird stuff happened in that neighborhood and in my house, sometimes in her own home. It was just a weird block. And this one night she was sleeping over. I was a wee thing, so we were, still girlfriend sleepover phases. And she woke me up, shaking me viciously, screaming at me, "Do you see it? Do you see it?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I was asleep." She said that she looked over at me and had seen a pair of red eyes, nothing but red eyes, staring down from above me,
Oh
directly
no.
at me. She panicked and started screaming her bloody head off. Well, I told my mom about it the next day, and my mom turned 3 pales shader, or whiter, I should say. And she's Irish, so that's kind of hard. I looked at her and said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "Lisa, I saw the same thing last night. It was looking at me from down the stairwell. It came out of your room."
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is something I don't have an explanation for, and it hasn't happened since. To my knowledge, I mean, no one's ever told me they've seen anything looking at me, since. And that's before the entire mess happened down the seashore with my best friend. That's just minor stuff. There was one day I had been seeing things just kind of like jumping around the house, balls of light. I didn't think much of it, but I knew if I invite my best friend, Melanie, over, that the battery would click. She'd pick up on what's going on because she was really tender with that kind of thing. Unfortunately, she was born a sick baby, diabetic mom. So she's always kind of been on the line between life and death. She had a lot of health problems. So I think that made her more open to that type of world, because
Yeah.
she was always dancing that fine razor line. And she came over. It was a standard visit. I didn't tell her. I was mean. I didn't tell her what was up. And I'm just watching her through the day. And I see her looking around and just doing the, I said, "No, what's up?" She says, "Lee, is there something going on in here today?" I said,
Right.
"Yeah, I wanted to see if you'd pick up on it." She just flipped. She's like, "You should have warned me. There's something in this house today, and it's just really distracting me." Well, we got to drive her home that night because we were both too young to drive, and her dad was not available to pick her up. So my mom, my sister, Melanie, and I are walking out of my house, and all my dumb mouth said, which is something you should never say when dealing with the supernatural: "If it's good, it can stay, but if it's bad, it's got to go." Because then they're going to pretend to be good so they can stay. You
Right.
never invite them in. Yeah. Well, at that point, we heard, I'm going to try to imitate it. All right. And it kind of went around in a ball. And we were all standing there. All 4 of us looked at each other. And would you believe my mother ran out of the house, dragging my baby sister, and Kellyanne went behind her and left me standing in the porch all by myself.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, "Guys," my mom says, "you know what to do. Get the holy water." Like, "You're going to send me in the basement by myself after this?" Fine. So, yeah, I did it. I went to the thing. We had a holy water that had been blessed by Pope John Paul when he had come to Philadelphia. We had frozen it. And a couple minutes out, start loosening up. So I went around the house and I did a blessing. It didn't stop things, but at least it made my mom feel better about walking back in.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry
Yeah.
that you had to do this on your own.
I
Sometimes
wasn't. I had Melanie. I'm doing it with my husband now, but so he's not been there through my entire life. So in a way, now I'm doing it on my own because everybody who was involved with me with it has died. I'm the last man standing. And I really feel like that's my punishment for bringing it into my home. That I'm going to be destined to watch everybody who was involved in it go down before me. And that's a really scary thought. That's the scariest of it all, knowing that everybody that we Ouija boarded with, everybody that we seanced with, everybody that we did a binding or a breaking with, they're all gone.
Yeah, somebody did bad happen. People, we do.
Yeah, things just happened to people, and it's like I've seemed to dodge that bullet so far. So I'm wondering what the future holds. I gave up using a Ouija board proper when one decided to come flying across the porch, that porch I mentioned earlier, and tried to smack me in the head. My mom had cleaned everything up. And my mom had a morbid sense of humor. She used to hang her old toys from a noose on the ceiling. She didn't want to get rid of them. They were her baby's toys, but she didn't have enough floor room, so she hung them up like decorations. So it really creeped people out when they first walked in. I used to say, look, my mom, to kill everything. And I was just, you had to throw them away. Well, she was doing the floor of it one day, and one of her ways of doing everything is throw it up on the bed or throw it up on the sofa, cover it up, and you have to clean it up in order to use that item again. So if you ever plan to go to bed and she throws it on your bedroom, you got to clean your room. If you ever plan to use that sofa on the porch, you got to get all the stuff off it or you're not going to use it again. It made sense. On top of it, I had laid a Ouija board. All right. I have been having some problems. Like, for example, the week prior, Melanie and I were using the board. It always responded wonderfully for us. I mean, it was like the moment you went on, the figure 8 started, and it was never anyone we tried to contact. It was always this thing that we ran into down the shore. All right, which I can tell you about, but that takes some time. So suddenly the board stopped moving. It was working, and then and I'm looking at Mel, I'm like, you all right? She's like, yeah, I'm all right. You all right? I'm like, yeah. And suddenly I hear a knocking on my front door. It's my family priest. He had been driving down the corner street, and something told him, you have to stop and see Lisa. The board stopped when he entered my gate. It stopped working.
Wow.
So when we hear this stop working, we hear my mom goes to the door. She comes in first, thank God, and says, oh, it's Padre. Me and Mel just threw that board, and it landed behind a radiator. We threw the oracle in the corner. We're like, hi, Father Tom. How are you doing? We were doing nothing but praying the rosary. And he looks at me and goes, don't try it. I know what you're up to.
He felt it.
He knew it.
Wow.
See, he apparently had done a blessing of a property before. And if I remember the story correctly, I was a wee thing, and we used to talk on the phone for like hours. We just got along really great. And he would tell me these stories of his experiences. And apparently he had done a blessing / he can't do an exorcism, but he can do a blessing. And because it was with no pay, the person then gave him a blessing that nothing negative could ever act in his presence. So as soon as he walked onto my property, the board cut out because it wasn't who we thought it was. It was something negative. So right there, I was like, oh, crap. I think I'm done with these things, at least using them. Well, he again went into you shouldn't be using the Ouija board. I know. Just make sure to close the board, he says. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So there was that. And then about a week later, I'm like, you know what? This is just becoming a little bit too much. Maybe I ought to get rid of the board. So I go out to the porch, and I'm standing there. My attention gets caught by my window. We had 3 big windows looking out to our street. My attention gets caught. I turn back around just in time to see, I'll use my phone again, this thing come at me like this.
What the heck?
I jumped to the side and went over my shoulder.
How fast was it? Was it super fast?
It was fast enough where it scared me, but slow enough where I could respond. And it literally came off the top of Mom's pile, and it had been sitting there for 3 days. And just, because I had said, I think I'm getting rid of you. The thing came flying at me. I call Father Tom. All right, I'm getting rid of the board. What do I do?
He's a
he gives me
priest of Chicago.
Yeah. He gives me the information on what to do it and how to do it properly. So I asked my mother and my father if they could break it, because it's a really, even though it's just flake board, really, it's Parker Brothers. Nice. They pack it real tight. So they tried breaking it over their knees. My mom and dad were both heavy people, not overly obese, but stocky, build Irish, build English, thick.
Well-rounded. And
he tried breaking it. My dad put it under his foot and tried pulling it up, and that damn thing was not giving. They hand it back to me like, babe, I don't know what to do for you. He asked me, do you want me to get the saw? I'm like, I think that's a bit extreme. I turned around at that point, and maybe they weakened it by what they were doing, just devil's advocate. But I was able to go, plunk, and it went right, it fell apart.
Whoa,
Right
maybe
across my kneecap.
maybe your energy was stronger.
I was tied to the board. It was my board. It wasn't going to do it for anybody else. So I gather up the board. I take the oracle or the planchette. I pop the oracle part out, smash it. We've been in a lawsuit with people next door. My plan was to throw it in their yard. Well, I was only about 9-10 years old. It was innocent enough for me. And they were annoying my mom and dad. So as I'm walking down the backyard alleyway from our back step, we had a backyard, grass on one side, a big wall, because there was a garage on the other end, and my dad's walkway down to his garage door. I'm on the pavement, and then I feel something smack me in the back. And I went face first. I mean, my shoulders buckled out because it hit me square in the middle of my back.
Whoa.
My shoulders buckled back, and I just fell, boom, forward onto the ground, split my lip. So now I got blood on the dance floor. I'm mad at this point. So I'm cursing whatever is in this board. I pick the pieces back up. I'm like, you're not going to stop me. You can keep doing what you want. I just got to get through that garage, and you're gone. Come on, try it. I mean, by this point, I'm daring it. Just take me on. I don't know what I would have done if it would have. But I went through the garage. Everything was good. Walked across a few steps. Looked at the oracle, the PowerPoint of everything. Boom! In the neighbor's yard.
Nice.
We won the lawsuit. They dropped
Congrats.
it. And it was only because Dad was getting rodents in his garage because of their garage. And we just wanted them to put an extra little, some traps out. And then they got all up our butts and decided to try to sue us for harassment. But it didn't work. Something worked for me in my favor.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, it was still negative. It wanted to do bad things. It didn't care where it was. It did it anyway.
Maybe it was like your little demon or monster, something like that.
Could be.
I don't know.
Well, that was actually before we ran into that. I was about 10-ish. The Inhuman came in when I was 13 years old, a very tender age for any kind of girl, because you're going through puberty and all that stuff, which they say heightens problems if you're a female. Well, I'll begin with that. Melanie was born to a diabetic mom. She was born early / they didn't think she was going to make it. So as she put it, I was born dead. So right from the beginning of her life, she just worked on a different register than I could pick up. We were best friends from the moment we met in kindergarten. Day one, the door opened up, and there was this dark-haired, brown-eyed, pale as a ghost girl, and I thought, wow, she's really cute. I'm a little girl. I got brown hair, green eyes. It's brown. And green eyes. I'd never seen anything with such contrasting colors. She's beautiful. So I'd take off after her to make friends, but I didn't realize she was shy. So it ended up being a run around the kindergarten room until we landed in the sandbox and realized, I was like, oh, you're shy. I'm sorry. She's like, you're not. I was like, yeah, I know. So we started our friendship in kindergarten, and we started going toward, to each other's houses around 6 with our parents dropping us off. And then we'd start going on our own a little bit later on. We could let kids walk the street or take the bike without fear of them getting run away with or run over. So one year, her mom and dad decided to rent the house that my grandparents had left my sister and I in a will. We were underage, couldn't take the house yet. So it's a way of keeping up on taxes. Mom would rent it out for weekends or weeks to people we knew, rather than have them spend $1,000 on a place. Come to our place, you get the whole house, the whole yard, you get the garage, $300 a week. It's fantastic. Yeah, and you're far enough away from Wildwood, New Jersey, where it's not going to interfere with you because it's a big party town. But you're close enough where you can get right there into the beach in 20 minutes. So they're down there. They booked a 2-week. So I was $600. Melanie and me decide we need our own room. So we go into the garage, my pop-up's garage, where he always parked his Ford. Well, we moved things around. It's an empty garage now. It's been years since Pop was gone, so his tools are missing. It's just basically he's got a cot and some old remnants of what things we moved out of the house. So we set it up for like a little girls' room, basically, to hang out in when the parents are home. Who wants to be with their parents at 13? So she's sitting on a cot that I had found, and she has a big old boombox, 1980s boombox, sitting on her lap. And we had no radio reception down there at this point in time. So we put this is such a rig job. We got one of those big old iron clothesline posts that hold your clothesline up so your clothes don't hit the floor when it's drying. And we put it onto the antenna and taped it so the metal would stick out the window and pick up the signal for the radio station, which it did. So she's sitting there bebopping and singing along to the music, and out of my ear, I hear something. I'm like, Mel, turn it down for a minute. She's not responding. She's just into the music. She's like in a trance in this music. I finally get her attention. She turns the radio down. And she goes, what is that? And I said, that's what I'm wondering. The tape recorder that had been sitting on a table by the entry door to the garage, the old-fashioned kind where you had to push the buttons down, it wasn't touchscreen or anything, had turned itself on, and it was playing a tape from the group Power Station, which was a derivative of Duran Duran. The song was called Communication, and it's all about how you can interact and how to communicate soul to soul, etc., etc. Well, we're like, oh, let's grab the board. That's a sign. Neither of us have bought it. Neither one of us had one. I didn't know you could draw one yourself at that point, so we just started using the tape recorder as a medium. We'd fast forward, hit play, write down 3 words, flip the tape, hit rewind, so it's still forwarding, but technically on the other side. Hit that, take a couple words, rewind it for about a minute, hit a couple words. And we actually came up with sentences that ended up showing up during the week, but made no sense while it was happening. There was something about the rain and never stopping. It rained for the entire week. It was so bad that we didn't know when we went into Wildwood if we ought to put hairspray in or not. And considering this was the 80s, this was a big problem because hair. But it was raining constantly, and that just would have ruined everything. We couldn't wear our little hats because you take it off, the hairspray has now turned into a hat. So, we were kind of like, oh. Then it began talking a little more threatening and gave messages of sickness and emergency. Her mother took diabetic shock.
Wow.
When we had to make a quick journey, they went to the local hospital, and then we had to return home to Philadelphia. We went to their house first because we didn't get in until about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So we went to Mel's house. I stayed there. And Mrs. Gibson, her mama, was downstairs. Mel and I are in the bedroom upstairs, top of the steps to this hand side. Her house was set up just like my house on Custer, the one my husband mentioned earlier, which I guess is kind of ironic. So we hear a little scratching in the upper corner of the room. Not a big deal. Could be a mouse. Logic says try to rule things out first. Don't just go with the paranormal answer. Try to figure it out so when you're left with that, that's the only option. Then the sound jumped from that corner to this corner.
Okay, that's weird.
With no walking. Yeah, start scratching there. Then it went to the opposite corner from where it was and began scratching. By now, we're looking at each other thinking, something's not right here. And they start to get that feeling. All of a sudden, and this is the only time I've really been scared, the whole room began circling with scratching and clawing, just zoom, 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 all over. It was an all-encompassing sound. It wanted us to know it was able to do that it was able to make physical noise, which means it could do something physical.
Right.
Mel and me are at this point on her bed, clinging to each other. And usually we didn't freak out about this stuff, but this scared us, especially after everything happening with the tape and her mom following with the health. And it just was looking really weird. It wouldn't stop. We were praying the Hail Mary because we were taught that that's what you do, because apparently demons do not like the Blessed Mother at all. She shows up, game over. So we're doing our best. We're doing our, nothing's working because we were too scared. We weren't moving in faith. We were moving in fright. Well, her mom comes barreling up the steps. She throws the room open and yells, "What the are you guys doing in here? I can hear you all the way downstairs." We just jumped up and we're like, "You heard it too?" And she's like, "I couldn't help but hear it. I need to get to bed. I'm not feeling well." We just ran over and hugged her. We're like, "Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God." And that was our relief. It's when she opened the door, it just went like nothing was going on. It was like the Serve Pro logo, not like it never even happened. Yeah, there was nothing going on. At that point, we explained to her what we had experienced. Then she called her sister, a twin, down the street. Her sister came up and did a smudging of the house. Her sister was psychic and she knew things, and she even warned us, don't mess with this thing. But we were kids. Yeah, you're going to listen to your parents at that age? Nah, you're curious. Nope. You're invincible. You're invincible. It's quieted down. Like, we would wake up with scratches on our body, sets of 3. But the thing was, it wasn't here or any place we could get ourselves. It would be the lower back. We would wake up with bruises in intimate areas that virginal girls should not have. The inner thigh had grip marks. There was one time I was talking to her in person, even at my house, and her ear just started bleeding. Just, and then I reached out because I saw it. She didn't, and I wiped it, and I realized there formed a scratch under her pierced earring. And that's where the blood was seeping out of. It wasn't gushing blood, but it was like if you're talking to me and you can slowly see this little piece start to bleed, you'll be like looking, trying to ignore it, looking, trying to ignore it, looking. Am I really seeing this? Yeah. So I reached out to test. I reached out for her ear. It was blood, and there was a tiny like cat scratch, deep enough to get the topmost layers. Melanie received a lot of threats from whatever that thing was that we ran into down the shore. It labeled itself the Wolf because we were using Duran Duran songs, and Hungry Like the Wolf, it kept coming up, playing on the radio all over the place that weekend. So we nicknamed this thing the Wolf, or TW for short, because we didn't want to say the whole word. Well,
yeah, I remember that.
It basically kept its presence through noises, destroying our toys. It ripped apart a Snuggle teddy bear that she had.
No.
A Snuggle bear of all things. It was an insult. He's
How
too
could
cute.
you do that?
You're a negative entity. You don't like happy things. There's no one at the house. We had left her house to go to McDonald's, which was right on the corner from her place. Snuggie was sitting on top of the bed. We come home, we sit back there, and the bear isn't there. So we start looking, thinking, where do we move this to? We know Mom and Dad had not come home. They were out for the weekend. That's why I was there, because we had the house to ourselves for a weekend. So we start looking around the room, and finally we get to the bedroom closet. Snuggie's ripped in half.
Oh, no.
His body is on the shelf up top of the closet. His head, though, was stuck all the way at the bottom of every other toy, buried underneath. And this thing kind of, whatever it was, the stuffing had been moved toward the top of the nose, which was now becoming deformed. It was like more thick than it should have been. And we were like, that looks like a nuzzle. Oh, shit, it's that thing again.
That's so scary.
I yelled at it, and I told him to keep his hand off her Snuggle bear. So there's that. Then there's just the last time I was at the shore before it got sold. My daughter now and I, she is 25 as of yesterday. She was 19 maybe at this time, and we were sitting in the driveway down the shore. My sister had the house at this point. She was selling it. It was going to be our last visit there. She's in the car and she says, Mom, do you think the thing in the garage is going to stay? Or is it going to leave? Now someone else has the house. I said, honey, it left this house a long time ago. She's like, yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry. I was just thinking because, being sold to somebody that's not in the family, maybe it would just go. I'm like, no, it left the house. It's following people now. So that takes that and throws that right away. Well, I had my playlist playing, my entire 2,000, 3,000 list of just random songs. I didn't have a playlist proper playing, just everything I'd forgotten I had downloaded and not put into a playlist. And 9 Inch Nails came on. We froze. The song was, I had said to her, and right before the song came on, the timing was ironic. I said, honey, it's going to come home with me. She says, I know that, Mom. That worries me. 9 Inch Nails radio. The song pops around on the radio, and it's called Came Back Haunted.
I think I'm just getting some chills from that.
We did too. I can find the lyrics for you real quick because it's all about literally looking for spirit, finding spirit, and not losing it. Came Back Haunted lyrics, 9 Inch Nails. Okay, think about a monstrous wolf when I read this to you. Okay, the lyrics go, ha ha, haunted. The throat is deep, the mouth is wide. Saw some things on the other side. Made me promise to never tell, but you know me, I can't help myself. Now I've got something you have to see. They put something inside of me. The smile is red and its eyes are black. I don't think it'll be coming back. I don't believe it. I had to see it. I came back haunted. I came back haunted. I said goodbye, but I had to try. I came back haunted, came back haunted. Everywhere is now reminding me I am not who I used to be. I'm afraid this has just begun. Consequences for what I've done. I don't believe it. I had to see it. Came back haunted. And then it says, then they go down. They tried to tell me, but I couldn't stop myself. And I came back haunted, came back haunted. Just can't stop, so on and so forth, all the way to the end of the song.
Absolutely unbelievable. Like
Definitely.
Thinking of the wolf, that's like mind blowing. It's
thinking about the visual. The mouth is deep and the eyes are the black. I saw some things on the other side. After my daughter asked me that, and I made the response, the music came on, and that's how we found it to begin with. Was through music. Because the tape
exactly.
recorder had been turned on all those years ago. Now we're talking, I was 13 when it got turned on. And I am 53 years old now. So if we go back about 5 years, I was in my late 40s. So, I've grown to kind of always look at the opposite, always try to debunk. Because if you can debunk every possibility, then what you're facing is something amazing. But that thing, it hung with us all. It's still here. My kid, the 25-year-old, and his daughter had been at the Custer Street house and heard something in the basement, opened up the door and said they saw a monstrous wolf type thing slinking up the steps.
Whoa.
And they slammed the door and ran back to their bedroom, slammed their door. They didn't come get me, mind you. They just hid. So that was another blessing that had to happen. But like I said, I did do the Ouija board. I made that mistake, and that's one thing I do highly recommend to anybody curious. Just it's like answering a phone before we had caller ID. You don't know who's on the other side, and who's on the other side may not really be who they're telling you they are. They'll tell you what you want to hear in order to get your trust, to pull you in, so they get that invite. they act innocent and small. Like the doll from the Warrens, the movie was made about her. And I can't recall her name right now. The Raggedy Ann doll pretended to be a young child to get the people who had her to allow the entity to stay in the physical being so it could wreak havoc all over their home. So you should never mess with Ouija boards. I know everybody does. So I'm not surprised that there's, a lot of negativity out there. And I'm also surprised there's not more.
Exactly. Wow, this is absolutely incredible. These are like such amazing stories, and we started this podcast about 2 months ago, and so far we had like quite a few guests, and these stories like are one of the best stories we've heard so far. This is absolutely amazing. You guys have great energy, and I would love to do episode 2 with you guys if you're up to it.
I am definitely. I figure everything can be a forewarning for somebody, or just don't do it like I did, and you may have better responses. So I'm game.
That makes sense. I just have like a couple of follow-up questions for you, and then we'll
Fire
wrap
away.
today's episode. So the first question is, do you regret doing that very first ritual when that creature appeared when you were 13? Do you regret
Well,
it?
I kind of feel like I really had no choice.
Hmm,
It started on its own. The big old fashioned tape recorder, you had to push the button down and the little red thing in the middle if you want to record.
right.
It needs pressure. It's not like a mouse stepped on it and triggered it. So something wanted to communicate, because the song was communication, soul to soul, so on and so forth. So I kind of feel like if I hadn't, it still would have kept trying. So I don't really regret it. What I do regret was not knowing how to protect ourselves. We didn't know that at that point. And Melanie really needed protection. We didn't have it. Father Tom tried
Wow.
his best, but what
Got
are you
it.
going to do? We're teenagers.
Got it. Well, that makes sense. What are some things you do now in order to protect yourselves and your family?
Well, it's Christmas time, and this is about the time of the year things pick up. And negativity usually picks up around Christmas time because it's supposed to be the holiest time of the year.
Don't bring art
Exactly.
to the bedroom.
And negativity peaks when it's supposed to be joyful because it wants to mock the blessed. One thing we do try to do is we've set the bedroom off as a no argument zone. You can
Hmm.
argue all over the house, but once you step foot in that room, sacred space, shut up, hold it. I don't care if your heart blows up because you're not talking about it. We're in our peaceful space. We're not going to go to bed with hatred. Can't say we're going to go to bed without an argument. That just, I'm a wedding minister, and I know you're supposed to go to bed not mad at each other. But come on, we're people. You're going to go to bed mad. You at least say you love the person just in case, because you never know what's going to happen. He could be my next ghost. He almost was. He fell off my roof a few months ago, twice.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But
Yeah, they tried to kill me with the VA.
another thing I did is when we started hearing things here at this new house, things walking up and down the hallway, knocking, every so often I'll hear something. I'll be just like, yeah, I hear you. And it'll stop.
Hmm.
I began to collect
Sensors going
Pope
off. Various lights.
Leo. Is it Pope Leo metal or Pope Pius? Charlie, would you keep him busy for 1 second?
Yeah, sure.
And I will actually get what I got and I will show it to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
Be
love
right
to.
back. Okay.
Yeah, these are amazing stories. Like, I'm so fascinated. You guys have like so many
I
stories to
didn't believe
tell.
it. I didn't believe it until I got affected by it. Now it's just the weirdest things. One time, so we were in traffic on 540 going into 40, and 40 going into 540, and by Raleigh,
yeah.
and
Oh.
all of a sudden a car was perpendicular to traffic, going 80 miles an hour, and we happened. I seen it, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, we're going for it. And so I slammed the gas and stuff. Things even push a little speed overdrive button, because that makes it so much faster.
Right.
And
Actually, a mail cart did.
we got I got in front of traffic and stuff. Things moved over just enough to get between the car that was beside me and that, in between the lane of traffic. That's how small Versa is. Two cars can share a lane. And whatever was left of the black car, shoved up against the wall. And so we swore we melted for a minute.
It was as if time and space morphed.
Because there was like no way we would have made that, like, if it, doing normal math, but somehow we made it in some things. And I'm like, whew, how about that? I was just like, don't do it again.
Oh my god, that is
There was
wild.
another time coming up the same road. A tractor trailer passed us, and I
Oh, that's
just
95.
got this
Yeah, that was 95.
feeling.
Okay,
It was. I knew
you should
something
always
was
listen to
bad.
it.
Yeah, I was told that by a psychic my sister set me up with. He told me that everybody wants to hear they have a gift, but you hear voices. Don't be afraid of them. I have certain psychological issues, but he said it's not that. It's wisdom, it's knowledge, and you have a gift. Listen to your intuition, which I did. So I'm driving. He's driving up the road.
I'm driving.
Truck comes up past our vehicle. We're here.
No, we're drafting a car. We're
drafting it. First,
a
it came
race
up.
car trailer for a good, 10 to 15 miles. We're getting the best mileage ever, 53 miles a gallon. This is awesome. We're gonna make it. We only have to refuel. Fuck it. We'll make it all the way to Philly. Sorry, we'll make it all the way to Philly in that one. And this is awesome. Cool. And she's like, Charles, I think you should back up.
Charlie, move over.
I
was like, Charlie, move over.
I'm like, no, we're getting good mileage. We're doing really good.
And I'm like, Charlie.
I own the car.
I said, something is wrong. Either this man doesn't know what he's doing, even though he's got a CDL, or something's wrong with that vehicle.
I'm like, no, he's a race
I
car driver.
knew it. Everything about me
what
knew
he's
it.
doing.
There was no doubt in my mind that this was coming to pass, just like tax season will come to pass. I
All of
knew
a
it was going to happen.
Wheel blew. The front wheel tire blew on the tractor trailer.
Jackknife.
And that happened like right beside us.
Oh.
And I was able. He was able to pull around it, but the guy that wanted our space
to go sideways a little bit and something because I needed to go around him.
Yep.
And
the guy who wanted our spot got there, and he ate all the plastic.
Oh no.
We got some stuff in the
radiator grill.
Nothing.
But if we had been following him at that proximity, because we'd have been in the back of the truck. And it was something that I just knew it. It was a sense of knowing. I just wish the lottery worked that way.
Wow.
But you knew what you're talking about then. And oh my God, that saved our ass.
The thing that I did when we started hearing things here is I started investing in relics of the saints. I figured if blessings are wonderful, saints would be better. So I began getting 1st degree, 2nd degree relics of saints that meant things to me as I grew up, like Maria Goretti, Mary Magdalene, things like that. And then I got one of these. Let me hold it up for you.
Oh wow, that's so beautiful.
It is a Saint Benedict medal. It is the only thing. You hear Supernatural with their little pentacle with the flames, their demonic protection.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the only thing recognized by the Catholic Church to ward off negative entities. So I got myself about 3 of them. And when things get bad with me personally, I wear it because it hangs right here, right over my heart. It is living over my bed. So as long as we're in the bed, we're safe. I had 2, but I don't know where the other one went. I have a colored one, all different kinds of colors because it was beautiful. But I made sure to get that. And I had gone to Chicago a few years ago, this is interesting. Went to Chicago to see a friend of mine, this Father Tom that I mentioned earlier. Sorry. World. I got there and suddenly I got as sick as a dog. It was as if something poisoned me, trying to keep me away from them. I drove from North Carolina to Chicago. Those drivers are nuts. I got into the hotel room and I instantaneously just got this pain in my gut and I began to hurl. And I was like, oh no. No. Because I think what it was is because Father Tom, it vibrates at a higher spiritual energy than I do. Something was trying to interfere with us visiting each other after 20 years of distance. Happened again when I went to a weekend with a friend of mine who's a witch. She's very spiritual. Again, I began vomiting and I had the stomach pains. It seems like whenever I get around somebody who's on a higher spiritual level, my body just revolts. But
Interesting.
Remember the cop and some of these? We went to go see his cop and something. Well, retired police officer from New York, and he was down here local to us. And we were supposed to go to see his house to see
paranormal researcher down here.
Research, event. The moment I
laid eyes on his
house, I had to slam on the brakes,
open the door,
and I let out mean things came out of my mouth. And something, and all over that road and something. I was stopped, and I'm in the middle of the road, and I'm one of those anal retentive drivers. I kind of like
pull over for
drive
everything.
like you're supposed to,
right?
And that's when I just didn't care. I was like,
it was like a scene out of The Exorcist.
And the guy said,
I was fine.
Like, sorry, I heard you were in an area. I'm like, no, right?
I was fine because I'd been there before, but there was a lot of activity in his house. It
was so weird.
So I think he picked up on that, and it was just no good for him. But when I got to Chicago, Father Tom asked if there's anything I'd be interested in going home with from the St. Jude Shrine. I was like, actually, yeah, I need a gallon of holy water. He says, a gallon? I was like, yeah. He says, then again, this is you. Okay. Hands me a gallon of water, blesses it himself. I bring it home, I pop it in the back of my closet. I'm going to use it when stuff starts up. So I get another gallon of water and I add some to it because apparently if you add water to holy water, it blesses it. So both the lids are on. I have 2 containers of water, one from Father Tom, blessed by him, and one from supermarket with the blessed water in it. I go to dig out my holy water about 3 months ago. The one that held the actual holy water, drained, empty. The lid was still on. There were no holes in the container. There was no leak marks on the floor because it's just a subfloor because we have to lay a floor in my closet.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have known if it had leaked, if a seam had given, there would have been stain. Instead, when I went to pick it up, I went to pick up a heavy gallon and I went, whoop, because there was no weight. And I look at it and I'm like, hell. So I go back to the other water, which doesn't have all the same amount of holy water in it. That's still fine.
Wow.
That was fine. So I need another gallon of holy water.
Unbelievable.
That one was kind of weird because I looked off. I've gone through that closet several times since looking for a water stain just because I can't get it into my head. How does water escape a sealed gallon with a lid on it? The pop lid that holds the air in. So it couldn't even have and it doesn't get so hot in there. So it would have evaporated. Where'd it go? I know I wasn't up at night drinking it, but where did it go? To this day, I still have no idea.
Maybe it was soaking in the bad energy and slowly disappearing.
Maybe. You know what? I didn't think of that. You may have a point there.
I need to watch a rerun of Ghostbusters.
Yeah. You may actually have a point there.
Interesting.
Maybe that's it. See, that logically makes sense for being illogical. The whole supernatural thing is illogical, but logically that makes the sense.
Dan Aykroyd is a big person in the supernatural stuff.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's just been things.
Wow, that's amazing.
My daughter, if I could get her to talk to you too, she's had stuff happening to her house. She's seen things. Her bed actually started the whole bang, 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 jumping around in her room at some point. Yeah, I wasn't there for that. Whatever this thing is, apparently goes after our kids too. Melanie has died. Her son has some problems. Her daughter has some issues with her life, and can't say it's from that thing, but I can't say it's not, because they're really kind of spiritual things that negativity would help breed. And my daughter has had experiences, and we're just kind of, no, weird. I'm still talking to Melanie as if she's here. Wondering if this may not be a generational thing. I'm hoping not. I don't think our children should carry the curse of what the mothers released. I don't believe in that, but I know if something is negative, it'll do anything it can to try to get your attention, even if it means hurting the things you love the most and the people you love the most.
Yeah.
A lot of Hail
Unfortunately,
Marys.
yeah, unfortunately that's true. But it is so nice talking to you guys. It was so interesting to hear all these incredible stories. Like I said, I would love to do episode 2 with you guys. And like, if your daughter's interested, she can do that too. I would love to talk to her as well. This was super, super interesting. So thank you so much for doing this interview.
Yeah, please do protect yourself. Get as lame as it sounds, get yourself holy water.
Yeah. I actually,
Yeah,
you know what? It's so interesting. I had like a really small bottle of holy water, and it was like on my desk, and it was next to other little bottles like for like screen cleaners and stuff like that, like hand sanitizer. And you know what? Maybe like 6 months later, that bottle with holy water just disappeared, evaporated completely. And it was pretty
you know what
small.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, little ones with the cross on it.
Yeah.
We had one of those too. When the Pope had come to Philadelphia, John, we were in the audience, and we were there for the blessing of the holy water. So it lived in our freezer for like ever. And that's what they sent me when the giggling sound happened. That's what my mother sent me through the house with. She's like, nuke it for 4 seconds and then clean the house. I'm like,
Hmm.
thanks, Mom, for your faith. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I guess that happens,
I
unfortunately.
should my inability to be affected by this stuff, Mom.
Right.
You know, I forgot to tell you one quick thing. When this thing down the shore made itself known, there was a situation where Mel's family had left the house, her mom and dad. She was in the shower and I was in the bedroom. She yells for me because she forgot to bring a towel in. I had just plugged a curling iron into the wall because we were going to do our 1980s hair and go out to Wildwood that night. I said, all right, quick curling iron, grab the towel, walk around the bed. Literally, it was right next door to the bedroom, the bathroom, and hand her the towel. I come back in and I reach over for the curling iron. I reach over, it's not there. I know damn right well I plugged it in before I opened up the closet. I found it on the bureau across the bedroom. The electric outlet was between the bureau, which was a big old wooden job that I can't move, and it was plugged in.
No way.
Who
plugged
I
it
looked at
in?
Mel. At least it realized, that was the sign that I know I didn't do it, that I didn't forget about it, because I couldn't move that bureau, and the bureau came down to the ground, and the outlet was like up here. So something had to shift and then shift. And I told him, I was like, towel up quick, we're getting the hell out of here. Because after what had happened prior with the tape recorder and then this happening, I just wanted out of the house for a while. I needed to breathe.
Yeah, exactly. It totally makes sense. You need to like get some fresh air when these things start to happen. But yeah, like I said, that thing about holy water, the reason I brought it up is because like I said, I had like other liquids on the desk and they never evaporated. So they were fine, except the holy water. So that's
You
what
see what
really
I mean
scared me,
then?
yeah. So
So shared experience. I totally get where you're coming from. It's like, only the holy water? What the hell?
yeah,
It is kind of scary when you think about just the holy water.
weird.
But yeah,
Yeah. All right.
I get you.
Yeah, thanks so much for doing this interview. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be in touch. We'll talk about like the schedule and things like that, and maybe your daughter will be interested in doing that stuff too. But yeah, thank you so
Yeah.
much for doing it. Really appreciate it.
Okay, no problem at all. It's good to find somebody who's interested in carrying on stories and making sure other people are aware of things. So, you're doing a good job. You're doing good work.
Absolutely. All right, then. Have a nice day, guys.
You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Be safe.
Yeah, God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
You too.